I do.
Uncle Jasonet. Uncle
Uncle
Jasonet.
Jackson,
Uncle
Uncle
Jasonet.
Jackson,
Uncle
Unc Uja
Jasonet.
Sinet,
Uncle Jasonet.
Jackson,
Uncle
Uncle
Jasonet.
Jackson,
Uncle
Uncle
Jasonet.
Jackson,
Uncle
Uncle
Jasonet.
Jackson, Uncle
Uncle
Uja
Jasonet.
Sinet. Yes. Peace, peace and blessings.
Tap, tap, peace and blessings. And we got to keep that rhythm, that vibration, that frequency high. So that chant, I'm glad you brought it in. Do I, so that we can be on that high frequency. And peace and love, hetep ku to everyone. We are here again for the Ankh Wellness Talk. And of course, we are going to keep it lively and powerful, healing. And I'm here with my beautiful sister, Aura Rakit, Aura, I should say. And I want to just make sure you take a moment, my good sister, and plug your website too when you get your time because your products are so beautiful and powerful, and more people need to know how good they are. So
Ashe.
I just want to say, because that's also why we are here. We're here to share information, but, definitely the healing things that we are doing, people should know about, all three of us.
Yes.
And with that, we also, okay, we got my other good sister here.
Mhm.
Wherever we come together, it's like, fire and fire and more fire. And so it's
Yes.
always a pleasure to share the time and space with the beautiful IJ Wu Ra as well. So
Ashe.
go
Give
ahead
thanks,
and
sis.
just I'm gonna let you start with the questions, Rakit. Get you a moment to speak and then, let it flow.
Hey, well, we're glad to have you, Sister Hajj. Every
I'm
time we have
glad.
you,
I'm
it's
glad to
always
be
a
offered
beautiful
and
thing.
invited.
And you always have a wealth of information. Um, and you do some wonderful work. I want you to start off by telling us about yourself. Um, we know we know you, but we
Right.
want it may be some people who are tuning in that have not met you or do not are not familiar yet with your work. So we want to just have the space so you can introduce yourself
Yes. Give
properly.
thanks, sis. Give thanks, Sister Rakit Kajar, for, opening up the space and offering and inviting me in. It's always a joy to talk amongst sisters, good sisters, genuine sisters, sisters that's on the sacred healing journey. But I am Ajay Bura. I am the executive visionary and founder of the Sweet Spot Detox Boutique in Atlanta. We have a holistic detox wellness studio. We've been open since 2014 for the last 12 years, just holding space for melanated people to become healthy and well, mind, body, and soul, and definitely tapping back into our cultural and traditional healing modalities as we vibrate higher, as we do the work, as we break spells that have indoctrinated us and kept us away from our birthright and our healing. And we do that by way of womb work. A lot of womb wellness is here, because for me, as a melanated sister and queen, mother, grandmother, friend, activist, comrade, warrioress, I just feel like women, Black women, didn't have a sacred space where they could tap into their divine femininity. I just feel like that is where our power is, and also where the enemy is attacking us at, far as melanated queens. That divine feminine energy is the thing that this world does not want to acknowledge, respect, honor, and revere. And for us, we cannot allow that. We cannot allow that, because that's our God-given right. That's what the Most High has created us with, is divine femininity. And why it has been kept from us should offend all of our souls. And so, with that being said, to have that type of depth of conversation, that has to be somewhere that the energy is sacred. That has to be in a place where women are vulnerable. That has to be in a place where we're not in our ego, where we're not trying to be the bomb, or we're not trying to be, all the things that this world has indoctrinated us that we must be, on an external level. When you talk about spiritual healing and spiritual elevation and spiritual involvement, it takes you going back to the essence of who the great creator created you to be. And usually melanated women are not showing up in that divine essence. We are showing up as who the world has created us to be, which takes away from our power. And so at the sweet spot, we have created a sacred, safe space where women are not being all the things that the world has told them that they need to be. We are in a divine space. We're doing divine ritual. We're doing divine ceremony where women can embrace themselves and who they have been created on a spiritual and soul level. Again, the vaginal steaming that we do is more ritual, it's more ceremonial. It's us going back into our bloodlines and our lineages and getting all of the messages and all of the code and all of um the divine woman's intuition that our ancestors have left for us, that we have become disconnected from. It's us releasing all of the trauma and the drama and the pains and the hurts that we have experienced in this platform, on this realm. It's us recognizing that we are the currency. It's us tapping back into our divine and our divinity mannerisms, and how we should live in Mayat: truth, justice,
Right.
righteousness, reciprocity, order, harmony, balance, knowledge, wisdom, overstanding, peace, and unconditional love. It's us becoming more aware and having more knowledge of self. It's us becoming where we're not hating on ourselves or thinking less of ourselves, but we know our value and we know our worth. It's us
Right.
rising in our power unapologetically. It's us knowing who we are and not who the enemy has named us or has tricked us out of our birthright. It's us rising up in power. And that is so sacred and it's so necessary, but we can't do it in front of the eyes of the world. We
Right.
have to go into our
So,
intimate spaces.
You did good. You gave us a whole bunch
yes,
right there.
you
Yes,
did.
it,
You was
it
on the
is a whole
road.
bunch to get connected with your divine femininity. It's a whole
But
bunch. We can't belittle it. But go ahead, sis. I
No,
no,
got
we're
you.
not gonna believe. You know, we can't
not at
belittle.
all. No,
You
that's
can't.
what I did want to just, some people don't even really know what a yoni steam is.
Hmm.
I have a few clients, I do readings and different things. And sometimes I say, you just need to go get a yoni steam, and they have no idea what it is. So if you would just take a moment and just give
Hmm.
us, the basics on exactly what it is, the yoni steam, and what
Well,
people would expect when they come.
yoni steam
Mhm.
is not what an African culture would even call that type of ceremony, but really it is the herbs being concentratedly absorbed into the most absorbent tissues on your entire body, which is your vaginal tissues, and going
Okay.
into your skin, your pores, your tissues, your blood, and your organs, and releasing anything that's blocking your energy. That's really
Okay.
what the herbal medicine is doing. A lot of times we don't know where we're blocked physically, we don't know where we're blocked mentally, and we don't know where we're blocked emotionally. Some people know where they may be blocked physically, but on a holistic level, we're blocked in a lot of areas, which is why we can't resonate with our power the way that we need to. And so
Right.
we call it a detox because it's a detox of the mind, the body, and the soul. A yoni
Okay.
steam is more on a spa level. It's not
Okay.
ceremonial, it's not spiritual, it's not ritual. It's just you coming in and sitting over a pot of herbs which anyone can do that. But as women of divine femininity, we always sit at the feet of other women and we hold space for the other women to rise in their power. And so for me, it's more passionately about um, guiding people back to their unapologetic selves through the divine intelligence of plant medicine. And the herbs have an intelligence that we have been disconnected from. And so the womb, because we all came through the womb, she's going to begin to communicate with the herbal medicine and drive and be the portal for that medicine to go up through the body, through the nervous system, through the cellular system, through the endocrine system, through the respiratory system, the reproductive system, the skeletal and muscular system, and all of your systems to release blockages in those systems, which is connected to our chakras, which we know we have, or we talk about 7 main chakras, but it's actually just bringing the body back into homeostasis, which is balance, and that way everything can be back at its optimal level. That's what real vaginal steam hydrotherapy is really doing for a person of divine feminine.
And I was just gonna say, I know you have a whole ceremony when you know, from my experience with you, and it does make it special. And I mean, it should be a special spiritual occasion because that is such a sacred part of our bodies. So I appreciate you explaining it in that way. What we gonna say, Ricky?
Um, I love that you broke that down because people come to me about yoni steams. I'm a herbalist. I put together the herbs and things like that, and a lot of people don't really know the true purpose of it. A lot of people, it's a trend, and it's like moving beyond the trend into the real purpose behind it. And I'm glad that you mentioned ceremony. So it is beyond a spa experience when people come to you, is it not?
That's
and
correct.
and and so it goes way deeper in just how much energy we hold in our wombs, in our sacred spaces. um I often also get questions about if there's something similar to what we would consider a yoni steam, or the ritual of the yoni steam for the divine masculine. And I'm almost certain that there is, but
There is.
yes, so just cleansing all those energies, especially when you're dealing with a new union or strengthening a union, to clear old energies out. um you know, to move forward. People just are grasping for understanding and just moving on a higher vibration. And I just want you to maybe add or speak on that, please.
Well, far as it being the most sacred space on your entire body, every man that has come into your room, you're carrying his energy. So that is another reason why you would want to do a sacred ceremony if that relationship did not leave on amicable terms, or it traumatized you in any way, mentally, spiritually, physically, or emotionally. That is another reason why you would want to do a sacred soul cleanse, such as a vaginal detox. Far as men, of course, they have been traumatized as well. It's our brothers who have been raped, our brothers have been molested, um, our brothers had been guided into over sexualization. And so there's a lot of reasons that a man would do a steam. And the difference between a vaginal steam and an anal steam is because a woman has a vaginal canal and an anal canal. So the herbs is going to travel through those canals to reach her body and her tissues and her skin and her pores and her blood. A man has a anal canal, And so that is how the herbs are going to be able to transfer and exchange into his body and enter into his body as well. I had a gentleman recently who came to me for a soul cleanse who have been with 300 women in his lifetime. His queen has been with 100 women in her lifetime. So that's 402 souls that you have intertwining in those two bodies when they come together in sexual interaction. And so the only way that you could release a lot of the traumas from those 300 souls from him and those 100 souls from her is to be able to release through the most sacred space on their entire bodies, would be her vaginal and his anal. And so when we talk about energy, we don't always look at everything as energetic, but everything is energy. And so anybody who comes in contact with you is transferring energy, whether that be negative or positive energy. And so a steam is a way for a divine masculine to release any kind of negative energy from his soul, his mind, his body, his spirit. And the vaginal steam is used to release from all of those areas for divine feminine. So I do both. I do men and I do women. I do definitely men and women together when they're going through different things in their relationship and they can't find or pinpoint a reason of why they just cannot connect on a spiritual, mental, and emotional level. I do a lot of men that is having issues with homosexuality or thoughts of homosexuality. So there's a lot of deep reasons of why a divine masculine would want to do a sacred cleanse of this nature. And
One
also
moment.
definitely, go ahead.
I just want to make certain. Is it just my end? The sound is shifting. Like it sounds a
Well,
little
I haven't
muffled.
changed anything,
You're
sister.
saying, but it is going in and out a little bit. It's not completely clear on your
And I
Okay.
just
end.
want to make certain that you're heard.
Okay.
Mm.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. It
Talk a
just,
little bit more.
or maybe
Can you
lean
hear me?
closer to where the mic is.
I'm right in front of the mic. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yeah, that's
I can
good.
hear you. It just
Okay.
Don't
sounds
let
It
your
like it's
shifted
in
a
a
voice
little
cup.
bit.
tone. Yeah, you get just speak loud so we can hear you more clearly.
But yeah, as I was explaining, is how the benefits for the anal steam for men releases trauma that the divine masculine may have experienced. And for women, it's going to release trauma and experiences that we need to let go of, far as the divine feminine and reaching our divine feminine levels. We have to release different blockages and let a lot of things go that have caused shame, that have caused resentment, that have caused embarrassment, unforgiveness. There's a lot of things that people may be holding in their sacred spaces. And
Yeah.
no medication, no kind of external, what I would say, application can really release energetic trauma that is stored in the cells and in the nerves and in the tissues and pores and skin. It's just no way to release that but this type of process, which is through plant medicine going in with the hydrotherapy and the moisture of the water to remove blockages throughout the energy system, which is the chakra.
Question.
Yes.
Is this a one and done type of situation? Or
No,
is this
man.
something that we have to continue? Okay. Because a lot of times people are looking for quick fixes. Let me
Right.
go
Yes,
ahead
ma'am.
and go to this place. Let me spend this money. Let me get X, Y, and
I'll be
Z. I
good.
done
Mhm.
sit through this, do whatever, and I should be done. Now,
Understood.
now, help us have the right mindset so that we can move forward with a clean slate and a
Well,
higher vibration.
I feel like if people really identify and acknowledge how much trauma that we have endured as Black people, regardless of where we are in our lives right now, what our ancestors have endured, which also is connected to us. through our bloodline and through our lineages. So when you look at things from a deeper view, there's no one and done for us.
Right.
One
And
and
then,
done for us is us being disconnected from reality. There is
mhm,
no one and done for Black people. There's no way that we can have endured the
everything.
amount of trauma that we have, and we think that we can come in and something is going to be microwavable and you do it one time and it's over with. I mean, that is so far from the reality of what we have actually went through, and it just advises us that we're not into the truth of really what we've endured. So I break down as a
And
coach. Go ahead,
I
sis.
just have to add in there that, in the example that you gave with the young people having so many sexual partners, um, there's no way you could get all of that out in one session. 300 people, 100 people is that's extreme. And so we also have to be realistic about, not just the trauma, but what we have allowed, for ourselves and however we've allowed it. And to
And then we
know that,
also have to look at,
sexual intimacy, that's not just a physical act. It is an intertwining of energy. The aura intertwines, the spirits, everything, the emotional self, the mental self. So it's not just easy to detach, and especially for women because we internalize the masculine energy, and some men internalize masculine energy as well.
Especially if they've been
So
raped or violated.
right, right.
so
But it's
that is the reason.
definitely, yeah. I just had to put that in there because
Yeah, of
it's,
course, it's
like you
necessary.
said, it's the years and years of the trauma before, that's etched in us, but then, the trauma that we take ourselves through. And
And
somebody in the
ancestral
comments,
trauma. Some of that stuff
and
ain't
Yes.
even,
ancestral,
it's
right,
not even ours. You think about the more we learn about some of these the environments, the
the buck breaking
plantations,
and all that.
the buck breaking, the bed warming,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
breeding farms,
right.
the
The
whole,
hangings, the
it's
hanging.
it's just
All that too, for sure.
so many traumatizations, and then even just the way that we have been brought up to be socialized, to be hypersexual,
Yeah,
especially when you look at the men, it's like a mark of manhood too. He probably, it became problematic, but probably at first he was probably getting all the daps, like he's the
right.
man because he was able to have all of these women. But what are you really seeking? And
Yeah,
why is it that you have to have this countless number to have a good feeling about yourself? And so what is it that we're really lacking, that we have to go and seek, such something that's supposed to be so beautiful, so sacred, and then diminish it,
I think
to
the
make it something so common.
I really think it's an escapism for a lot of people. And then especially with men who, because it's energy, sexual energy is creative energy. And if you are not creative, the sexual energy can get out of hand. Even for some who are creative, because sexual energy is also very powerful because it can create a whole being. And most people really don't understand the depth of the Dr. Africa used to call it the entering the course because it really, it is the way that we create a whole being. And even though we don't do it every time with that in mind, still it is that same very act that it's required for it to happen. So it is an act of creativity, and we can use it to create other things other than just a baby. But when we don't understand how powerful it is, then we abuse it. Um,
And then it could be an
that's,
act of war.
yeah, definitely that. It has been used against us, to control us, to exploit women and children. Ooh, that's a whole conversation in itself.
I mean, but it's inclusive of
Yeah,
that. You know, it's like especially in these times. And when we do this type of healing work, things come up. Like, how do we deal with the things that come up? Because this is very much akin to shadow work, from my understanding.
It is. It is.
You know, and
And,
then
and
how do
all of
how do
us have different levels of shadow work as well, sis, because all of our experiences have been different. I think for us as a people, we have to give each other grace about what we have actually embraced or experienced.
right.
Because somebody's experience may not be yours, but that doesn't mean that it's not to be looked at or delved into or broken down. Some of us have been through very traumatic lives experiences in our childhood when we talk about shadow work. I talk to a lot of women that's 40 and 50 years old and still are traumatized by a lot of things that went on in their childhood. They can remember them just like it was yesterday. And they have
yeah,
never been offered to heal. They've never been, that's why people keep so much of that secret or keep it suppressed, is because who's worrying about something that happened to me 30 years ago? Who got time to worry about that now? But we got to worry about it because it actually institutes and constitutes more trauma of, going on in life. We got to know that energy, everything is energy, and energy moves all around us all the time. So when we have suppressed energy and it's traumatic, it just has to be addressed, and we have to love ourselves through the pains that we have went through. I think that's the biggest thing that I see within the the nature of our people right now. It's like nobody wants to feel pain. Nobody wants to acknowledge things that happened that was amiss. They just want to move through life like everything is wonderful. And that just is not our story. That's just not our story. No matter how much we want it to be our story, it's just not our story. And I think that's the one thing that have kept us from our healing. With Sweet Spot, the thing for me is to welcome people into healing can be sweet.
mm, I like that. Yes,
Healing can
and
be sweet. We don't have to stand off from healing.
mhm,
We need to embrace healing. It's part of our power.
yes. Think we just don't really talk about it enough in our community. Regular people we are healers, so we talk about healing all the time.
Yeah.
But people who are not in this realm, they don't really think about the fact that they need healing until they really, really, really get sick or something
Mhm.
happens, and then they'll seek help. But it is something that we should be talking about because we do still feel the effects of the ancestors' pain and our own traumas that we don't really even get lessons on how to resolve our trauma when we go through it. Like nobody tells us really, when something bad happens, you should take some time to yourself. You might need to do some spiritual baths. You may need to do, extra prayers. You may need to stay in isolation, depending on what it is. Um, Definitely seeking elders, for assistance and things like that. I feel like when our communities were tighter, those types of things, like when we were living in those plantation settings, it would always be a woman or medicine man
Mhm.
on the premises. So if anything happened, they got whipped too bad, they send them over here. Or, they just knew how to care for each other. And we now have allowed others to care for us instead of we caring for ourselves. So come on.
Can we backtrack a little bit to when you were talking about what the world expects or tells us that we should be as women, or like the baddie, all right?
Yeah.
Or what the
Oh gosh.
divine versus what the divine
Yes.
actually, how it moves. Can we speak more on that,
Of
please?
course. Of
Yes.
course. I feel like the image of Black women today is so different from what we were created as, what we're looked at as, what we're looked at to do, how we're looked to submit, and how we're looked to pleasurize men, and how we look, just the whole external um look of what we should be is not our own. It's not our own. I look at, women such as Cardi B. I look at women at Little Kim, how we have changed our identity to
Oh,
fit
dang.
in with society. We've changed, transformed who we are to be accepted or embraced or liked or included with the enemy. And it just allows you to know how we have become so disconnected from self. We have
Yes.
really start defining ourselves according to the same people who oppressed us.
Right.
And it just allows us to know that there is a psychological sickness there anytime we want our nose to be pointy, or we want our lips to be thin, or we want, to look like the Yurugu, and Yurugu is the Caucasian. We want to look like the people who have caused so much damage and so much oppression and so much pain to our people. That definitely means that we have a level of self-hate about how our
Yes.
noses look, how our lips are naturally, full, how we have naturally, how the creator has created us. We no longer like that. We want to look
Right.
like the enemy. That's a sickness. And we're pulling our young girls into, if I'm not this, and if I don't look like that, and if my hair is not this. Everybody wasn't meant to have long hair. Everybody
Right.
wasn't meant to look like Barbie. Everybody wasn't meant. That's just not part of our ecosystem. We are full black featured, beautiful, voluptuous beings.
All different shades, sizes,
Yes.
everything. Right. Exactly.
And
And
when we
now
look
it.
into the reality of things, most of the women who are, deeply loved and cared for don't necessarily have to be that so-called supermodel or have that image that you would have on,
Right.
common television, or the magazines or things like
Yes.
that. But to embrace, I mean, there's beautiful people all over this globe. And
Absolutely.
there's so many
True.
different genotypes, phenotypes, all this, and to just allow that to shine through. But it's like, how do we get there to undo the damage and the harm and the distortion in our thought process of how we
Ooh,
see ourselves?
it's a
Oh, it,
strong, strong brainwashing, and
ooh,
that mental, it's a mental illness, I'm calling it at this time, because when you are so used to putting on something fake, that even once it begins to destroy you, you still want to put it on.
yes,
That
it's
is something that it's a real powerful
mm,
spell. And I
Because the
mean, we
lawsuits
got
that
the
keep coming
movies.
out.
I always go back to they what is it? They clone Tyrone. They
mm-hmm,
showed you the chicken, the music, the hair care places who are doing certain things. That is there. Is that. And until we really not just look at that type of thing as entertainment, but because if they put it right in front of our faces. And the same thing, we've been saying this for a long time. So it's like just really stopping the foolishness, stop the madness. Jill Scott just put the song out. We got so much pressure to appear just like them. So
Yes.
much pressure to appear just like them.
Why? Why? Why is there so much pressure to appear like them? Why? Because they want to be able to
Oh,
have the power to take us out of our power. They know
Because
exactly.
yep,
anytime you can distort someone's image or value system of themselves, you got a lot of damn power.
It's control.
Anytime you can make so anytime you can make someone like Sister Kajar is saying, put on something fake every day, and that's more acceptable to you than your natural beauty. Wearing, everybody like to be dialed up for a wedding. You got an after five, you got a party. There's nothing wrong with it, but to a certain degree. But when that identifies you, who you
you
are,
can't
you
walk
got
out the
women.
door.
Yes, you got women who have to have makeup on, have to. They
Mhm.
don't want to see themselves in no other version. They don't want
Right.
nothing to be out of place. They it's almost like they've gotten us in this robotic type of vibe to where we want permanent eyebrows. We want permanent lipstick. You want permanent lipstick? What you need lipstick on while you sleep? What you mean?
And it
And then
don't age well. It do not age
it does
well.
not. It does
I have
not.
seen people with tattoos on the tattooed makeup for years. It does not age well. And here's the thing, everybody else sees our beauty. They might talk down about it because when we own it and we know we own it, we pop our collar and
Yes.
we'll put it
We
in other
show
people's
off.
faces without even trying to, because when we really step out in who we truly are, as colorful as we are,
Mhm.
and just the way that, our skin ages better, just our own typical hygiene and our it's nothing wrong with having a beauty regimen.
No, it's
But
not.
the thing is, when everybody else can see how beautiful you are, but you can't. I mean, in this natural state.
Yes.
Like,
That's
But
it.
the
That is it.
and time again, they pay big money
big money, sis.
to attain the features that they put us down about.
Right.
And so after a while, we have to just really just take into account, you know, how 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 can I see myself more clearly? Through
Yes.
a divine lens, a divine mindset,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and when I look at the class action lawsuits that continue from chemical relaxers, and now,
All of that.
even though people are, and people still use chemical relaxers, knowing the issues that have been proven, then they have lawsuits. I mean, there's stuff coming out with the installs and the stuff
Right.
that is happening, and how the chemicals that leach into our system through the
Hmm.
hair, and we're
Yep.
still doing that,
The hair,
and
the nails, those fake
you
nails.
those things that basically are geared toward us, um they just time and again just happen to use chemicals that will break us down. Why
And
are
why
we
is
not
that?
paying attention
It
to that?
because it's the internal work. It's the other stuff that we were talking about earlier that people do not want to deal with. And they feel like if they just put on these pretty things and they put on all of this stuff, it will hide their pain, really.
Yep. They don't want to feel it.
And and then they go on about their day as if it's all good, but really inside they don't feel good. They don't feel good about themselves. That's why, because we are now spending tons of money to alter our looks. These women spending this money to alter their face,
Hearing
now
about
they
black
have a
women doing
baby and they
Botox.
don't even look, the baby looking at them like you don't, I don't even look like you no more. So it's creating a whole bigger mess that we will have to clean up because
Yes.
we're in this process now, just trying to, what can we do? And I think just really promoting each other, like to love ourselves more.
Mhm.
If we all just could be a little bit more loving, I think that would help. I don't know. Y'all go ahead because we get close to the end, of wrapping up, but share some of the things that we could do because we love our sisters. All three of us are dedicated to working with Black women. So we're not trying to bash them, but we
No,
do want to figure out how we can help. So
Right.
yeah,
And when we have these type of conversations, this is love. The
I
only
say,
time people would take out this type of time, we have to be our own accountability partners. We can't just allow things to go on as they may and never say anything about them. That's part of the problem. So I tell a lot of sisters when I'm saying this or I'm speaking about these things, I'm not lying. We're not lying. This is reality right now. So we're not bashing anyone, but we are bringing something to the forefront that needs to be spoken about, that needs to be healed, and that needs to be addressed. We can't go throughout this world and think there's nothing that we need to address about ourselves. We are quickly to talk about what everybody else is doing to us. And in fact, that is a fact. But there is a lot of things that we're also doing to ourselves. And that also needs to get to have attention and get to be addressed as well. There's a lot of things that the enemy has set in motion, but the fact that we are participating in it,
right.
that's the bigger issue. There's going to be a lot of things that people promote and create for our destruction. But the fact of the matter is to participate voluntarily into that destruction, that is the psychosis and the sickness that we must address. So we have to allow our people to know this ain't about bashing at this point. This is about us revealing what is going on within our communities and bringing some attention to it so we can have healing conversations that can help people. If that is something that you feel that you have to do, you need to do, you can't live without it, reach out to people in your community to get the necessary healing and the necessary help and the necessary support. Because as melanated people, just in my own opinion, and I have a daughter and a son that I go through these conversations with, you can't tell me in your mind and you being of the creator that it has not came to you that you're out of order. I just, from what I know about the creator and being my own self accountability partner, I know when Ajay is out of order. I know when Ajay is out of order. I've always known when Ajay was out of order. I don't care if I wasn't ready to accept it or not, but we always know when we out of order
if we
because
pay attention.
we come from divine order. There's no way we don't know. We just don't want to change, and that's not a bad thing, but it's something that we have to address.
Yes. That is very true. You put that so nicely.
No one else, who's else is going to address it? Who's going to come and say
Nobody
y'all
gonna
need
fix
to get
us.
back in divine order? Who's going to do that?
Mhm.
Nobody's going to do that because everybody's making money off of us being out of divine order.
It's true.
Everybody's
It's
benefiting
true.
but us. We're not doing all of the things that bring in all of the money from us changing ourselves, bleach and relaxers and the
Yeah, we don't need
nails and
that.
all of the things. Who is creating these things for us? Who is maximizing their benefit off our exploitation? We're still being exploited, fam. We're still
Yeah.
being used. We're still being manipulated. We're still being put against ourselves. They're still doing the thing. They're still doing
Yeah.
the thing. And if that don't have us upset, I really don't know what else can upset us? Someone is trying to destroy you,
And then
literally.
and then to do what? Like when we awaken, we have to be ready to take matters into our own hands, even if it's in the process of making our own products, even if it's in the process of when we do go through, I like to call it the beautification rituals. When we spend that time in the mirror, we wash our face, we
Mhm.
brush our teeth, we comb our hair, we moisturize, we have our little moisturization and all that stuff. Are we speaking life? Are we judging ourselves? Are we insulting God's creation, or are we uplifting it? Think like, you know, the thoughts that we think about ourselves as we are, doing these day-to-day tasks or the rituals. Rituals are basically the things that we do time and time again. What do I do
Diligently.
when I first wake up? What do I do after that? And in what order do I do it? Do I wash my face before I wash my hands, or those type of things? So I'm just saying, try to be intentional about the mindset. And then when I also think of like African, indigenous, melanated cultures, women usually get together and those rituals such as steaming. I was just watching something of women in, I think, East and Central Africa, where they smoke the herbs and sit over that, and they do this together, like,
Yeah,
or they share the recipes. They at least the making and pulling it together, even if it
yeah,
is something private, and I'm starting to have more conversations with people who have young daughters or nieces who are having their first blood or their first menstrual cycle. Do we gather around them and celebrate them and let them
We
know
yes,
that this is
should.
a
We
rite of
should.
passage,
Yes, yes.
how to take care of
Yes.
yourselves? All right,
Mm,
you're now into a new era, lady. So now this is what
yeah.
we have to do. This is what is expected of you. These are things that you're
yes,
gonna have to learn, and to do this in a way that is life giving.
yes. It's sweet. It's sweet.
Yes, it can be so sweet if we that's
It's
what
so
it's all
sweet,
about.
man.
Yeah,
And
truly.
once we know that everything that you said, Ricky, is what we were created for. It's what we must do. It's that we've been doing everything else but these things is what has us in the position that we're in. And we just got to know that there has to be there has to be an answer. There has to be a resolution to this. It has to be. And I feel like us healing and loving ourselves and loving each other and uplifting and motivating and inspiring each other, that is what we haven't been doing, family. But that's what we must be doing because that is
Yes,
where our unified, glorified
that
power
part.
is. And they know it. They
Mm,
they so know it. They so know it. But
mm,
it's we that must know it. It's we that must embrace it. It's we that
right.
must do it. And it's time. We've tried everything else, fam. We really have. We really have done everything else but master our healing. That's what we need to focus on right now. I know a lot of people may have their master degree, they might be a PH this and a this and a that in the oppressor's world, but we must master self. That's where
Mhm.
our energy has to be exerted now. It's mastering how do we get better? When do we get better? What do we do to become better? That is where our attention must be right now.
And now that I'm better, then what? What else can I do?
Then we can have that village and bring
Yes,
ourselves together. Because the one
yes,
thing that's keeping us from doing that now is the people are not whole. And so we don't trust each other, we can't depend on each other, things of that nature. But once people really do heal, it'll be much easier for us to come together, work together, support each
Yeah.
other. That's what we do at our second
That sounds like the
temple. I'm
promised
talking about
land.
this all day, every day. That is the key, is for us to, heal ourselves. Then we can have a stronger family unit and a stronger community. It starts with the individual knowing that we need to heal, taking the time to heal. And then, it has a trickling effect to those that we are in contact with, those that we work with, those that we love. We just keep sharing that healing energy, come
Yes.
together, we do our healing things. It's
Mm.
not something that we might see the results of tomorrow, but it is something that is energy. So when we put our energy in a certain direction, we know that it's going to grow and evolve. Whatever we put our energy into is going to grow and evolve, right?
It's
So
gonna be better than this, I could tell you
it's
that.
gonna get even better. It's gonna be stronger. It's gonna be because the women are waking up. Because it's all three of us. It's so many more women who are helping others to heal. We are in a healing movement. Nobody's really
Yes.
talking about this, but it's a healing movement happening. It's a few things happening for us in our evolution. It's a lot more people writing books. Black people are writing their stories out. So it's
Mhm.
a whole new renaissance of writers, but the healing arts, we've gone up. When I first started doing Reiki, nobody in the Black community knew anything about Reiki. Back in the early 2000s, it was
Mhm.
foreign. It was like, others people were talking about it, but us, we were behind in the times. But now people, not everyone and not enough people, but more people are learning about Reiki and the detox, the detox and overall,
Yes.
things like that. We're finally catching up. And
Yeah.
so that lets us know that something is working. Something is working. So we're
Yeah.
gonna keep on doing what we do because we know that's why we came here. And with that, I want to make sure both of you all do share your information and how people can contact you and stuff like that. So let's give us some last words, the things that you want, people to ponder, those who are listening. Oh, we did have one question I wanted to, hopefully she's still here, but talking about a womb ceremony, would there be a different ceremony if you don't have your womb anymore?
Well, that's the thing. A woman always has a womb. There's 10 parts in the womb. You may not have your fallopian tubes, you may not have your ovaries, but you always have a house. You always have an inside. So nothing can ever take away from that. I would say that you need more supplement and more healing when you have had parts taken out of the womb. But the womb is the house. The womb is the mother earth. That's like taking something out of the earth. The earth's still there. You can pick a flower, you can pick in your garden, you've taken something from and out of the earth, but that don't have nothing to do with the foundation of the earth. So the womb is she's your universe, she's your nucleus, she's your circumference, she's your compass, she's everything for you. What I would say is women that have had parts taken out of the womb, for whatever reason, that's the time that you need to step up your femininity and the health and healing of your femininity.
Mhm.
And vaginal steam is definitely something that can constitute, you going and doing anything adverse to the womb or in the womb. That is when you really need to be um standing on your herbal medicines and doing all of your traditional modalities to make sure your hormonal balancing is in place and your cells and your nerves is still getting the nourishment that they need through the herbal medicine. But you always have a womb. I talk about this to women that have had partial and full hysterectomies all the time. They say, Ajay, I don't feel like I'm a woman anymore. They say I don't have a womb. That's not true. You have a womb always. Your womb is what makes you a woman. You still can have sex. Everything is still going inside the house. You just have some missing parts in the house. And that's where you need to step up your knowledge about how to supplement your body now that you have some missing parts.
I do. And she said, thank you for the answer. So I'm glad we were able to
Absolutely.
answer that. But go ahead, give us some last words, your website, and where people can contact you.
Um, for me, Sweet Spot Atlanta is in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. We have a brick and mortar space where you can come and get all your feminine wellness and your bitters and tinctures and herbs and Reiki. I am certified with Reiki Kajara, so we do womb Reiki here. Definitely releasing a lot of trauma and negative energy before we put you on the herbs. You can always get your Reiki before that. And we are at www.sweetspotatlanta. Atlanta is spelled all out as one word, .com. And that is all of our social platforms as well, is Sweet Spot Atlanta. If you have any questions, we have a chat button on our website. Everybody who comes into the studio gets a consultation. And so we're here to heal. We're here to offer healing to our community. And we definitely want to make sure our community is well, mind, body, and soul.
Right. Do I? Yes. And I just have to say, she is going to treat you like a queen. This is some of my best self-care is to go and get the vaginal steam with IJ at the Sweet Spot. I need to get there again
Give
soon.
thanks, sis.
I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that I do to treat myself. So
Give
I
thanks.
have to
Give
put that
thanks.
out there because it's a real thing. And when you don't do it and then you do it, you're like, oh yes. Why wasn't I doing this before? I should be doing this
Yeah,
more. It's one of those types of things. So I just had to put that out there. So
I
we thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Give thanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, Ajay and I also were doing the Ashe Wellness Markets in Atlanta for almost 2 years. We
Yeah,
did with some other beautiful sisters. So we go back and, doing the healthcare, I mean, the wellness work for our people is something that is very dear to all three of us,
yes, it
actually.
is. It
It's
really
our
is.
life work, and we have been doing it for a long, long time. So, Tua, we appreciate you coming on. And Raki Aura, go ahead and give us some of your background and whatever last words you want to share as well.
My background,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, tell us about what you got going on, where we can reach you and things like that.
well, I am Chief Master Herbalist of the Rasaki Arts Temple, and I have my own product line, Urban Spice Wellness. Also, I'm a full spectrum doula. So that means I'll work with you preconception planning, prenatal, labor delivery, postpartum, that whole perinatal period. Um, so I even have herbs that'll help you get pregnant, help you not get pregnant.
Yeah.
But also just whole family wellness as well. The best way to reach me, you can catch me on like Instagram, which is urban spice underscore wellness. Um, and it urban is HERB, the letter N, SPICE. And then my website is Herb and Spice Wellness, HERB, letter N, SPICE, Wellness, WELLNESS. And you can also call or text 704 251 9770. That's my Google number, 704 251 9770. and I do wellness consultations, detox, herbal detox, foot detox. I got herbs for stress relief. I got a heart formula, a nourishing womb. This time of year, we're going through the changing of the season. Everything's covered in
Mhm.
pollen. So I have the mint and mullein tea as well as the spiced honey, which is local wildflower honey blended with a beautiful blend of spices. And then I have say the best for last, the Breathe Easy formula, which helps with improving respiratory function for those who may be dealing with allergies as well as asthma. So,
Mhm.
and I could even have a conversation with you about things that you might have already at home in your yard or in your kitchen that it'll be beneficial to you, especially this time of year.
Yes,
Mhm.
So,
yes. That's what I
yes.
was gonna say. This time of year, people need that allergy stuff. This pollen
Yes,
is
ma'am. Yes,
crazy. I
ma'am.
usually don't have problems with it,
Ooh-wee.
but I mean, it's
It's on
whew,
another level this year. And
yes, it is
I have healed
thick.
myself from it for years, but this year I've
Mhm.
had to step up my healing regimen because it came in strong down here in
Yes,
Georgia. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, you
it
can't get
is.
away from it. So we definitely need to build up our respiratory systems because with the chemtrails and all of that, I just think it's doing something to the trees to where they come in.
Mhm.
I mean, it is heavy, heavy.
It's
Pay attention
possible.
to the trees because you may see that
Hmm.
the tops of the canopy are dying. And
Hmm.
they are deep we're going through a
Definitely.
deforestation process. With They
Yeah.
call it development, but in truth is deforestation.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the urban areas intentionally do not plant female trees
Right.
because they don't want to deal with the cleanup of the fruits.
And that's the
And
problem.
yes, and then when you have a whole bunch of male trees and uh pollen is
No
sitting there,
females.
That's
We
out of
have what
balance.
we have. Yes. It's a whole
It's out of
issue.
balance. You
And
can't
so
have the male trees without the female trees. You
it
cannot have
it's because it,
it's
it it
not
it
gonna
throws
work.
everything out of balance.
Hmm.
It throws things
It
out of
does.
balance. So we should not be afraid of the fruits. And if we're not eating and harvesting the fruits, then we should take the responsibility of cleaning them. There are no
Yes.
shortcuts.
Yes.
We try A lot of our issues are because we try to make shortcuts in life, and that's not how this works.
Yep.
Not
Very
in
out
my
of
eye.
balance.
We got to plant
Mm-mm.
our own fruit trees and things like that so we can help balance it out.
Whew.
Truly. But I do also I got to give my sister a plug as well because I've been using the Herb and Spice wellness products for at least 10 years. That stress relief formula and heart formula that she makes has been keeping me out of the hospital and the doctor's office. Okay. It's
Yes.
that good. So definitely go to the website if you have stress or you need some herbs. Everybody should have a good herbalist that you work with, period, so that you can
Yes,
get what
ma'am.
you need and you don't have to go, to people who just want to keep you on stuff forever. And you can really get the healing that you need as well. So had to
Yes.
put that out there for my good sis, for both of you all, because that's how we build community, is by supporting each other. And this is our time we talked about, we pay for our own oppression. We got to pull back our energy, pull back our dollars, redirect how we spend more money with people who look like you. Okay. That's how we heal our finances. Because we got to heal our bodies, our minds, our spirits, but we also got to heal our finances and our community. So
Mhm.
supporting each other, that's a big way we could do that. And that's
Yes.
just how, we make a commitment to live like that. Go to your people first for whatever you need. You would get whatever you need at this point from people who look like us. So had to put that out there. Definitely go to our website, RaisekiHealing.com. We have the books, we have retreats planned, um, classes, online classes. You can also take a part of but we are doing this thing. The healing movement is happening. We are going to keep going in this work because that's what we came back to do. So definitely, we appreciate every one of you all who was watching and listening. I can see we got a lot of people chatting with us this time, y'all. Woo, woo, woo. So if you like the information, go ahead and share it with your friends and family. You know, that's another way that we support each other. Share the
Absolutely.
information. It don't take much to just click the button and pass it on. So let's get some more of that. Let's keep this healing energy going. You know, I love you all. Y'all want to chant it out as we gonna chant one more time.
Yes.
Are we gonna
We
chant?
Yes.
can chant it.
1, 2, ready, and good
Uncle
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Good
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Uncle
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 Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
Jassinet.
Yay, Uncle
Yes.
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Jassinet.
Yes.
Uncle
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 Jocelyn.
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Uncle
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 Jocelyn.
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Jassinet.
Jocelyn.
Uncle
Uncle
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
Jassinet.
Ashe, 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 Ashe.
Life, abundance, and good health.
I know that's
Yes,
right. Bring
I
it
yes.
know
in,
that's
To
bring it
right.
in,
all of
bring it in,
us, to
bring it
all
in.
of us.
We're
Let it
Peace,
sharing
be
it.
love, and
so.
light.
So be it, and
Yes,
so it is. I say,
yes,
I
it
say.
is. Ashe.
I love y'all so much.
Love
Until
y'all. Peace, blessings, love, and light.
Yes.
next time.
Peace and love.